welcome back to another YouTube video. We're going to be showing you my 2000 calorie fat loss diet that I have been on now for 3 weeks. It hasn't strictly been 2000 calories every single day, but that's kind of what I'm shooting for in preparation for none other than my wedding. It's not really a performance benefit here. I just want to lose a little bit of body fat for going away to Spain. 7:48, we have done 40 minutes of rowing machine already. Jump back into the house, sort out the wee man's breakfast, and my first calories of the day is just going to be a coffee with skimmed milk, and that's going to amount to roughly 50 calories. We'll sort out breakfast probably when Ellie's away to work and the wee man's away to his nana's, just so we get a little bit of space and time to sort that without any distraction and screaming baby in the background. We're starting the day with the most important meal of the day, which is not my breakfast, it's Freddie's breakfast. What are you having for breakfast? Eh? What are you having? Mush. Avocado, blueberries, Greek yogurt, porridge and cinnamon. Okay, so breakfast is served, same as every bloody morning. It's overnight oats with blueberries, chopped walnuts, dates, a bit of cinnamon, a bit of honey, a bit of Greek yogurt. The only kind of difference just now is that I'm using the overnight oats from Prep to Plate in Glasgow. Get them delivered every single Sunday. So what you've already got is oats, there's a bit of Greek yogurt in there and a couple of other ingredients. I think it's about 350 calories. What I put on top of that is to essentially bulk out the meal, to make it a bit more filling, a bit more nutritious with a little bit more protein. Also, to go alongside my breakfast, a gallon of water and 3 scoops of electrolytes in there. I'll not drink this just with my breakfast, it'll take a little while for me to get through this throughout the first part of the day. So just punching this into my fitness pal just now. The way that I track just now, I'm not being properly anal about weighing every single thing. I'm putting in rough estimates based on what I think is in it. Now, some people may tell you that, right, you're going to be way off. You're going to have skewed the numbers. You're probably going to be 200 more than what you actually think. But the way that I do it is I always kind of do more than what I think it is. So if I think I've got 150 grams of Greek yogurt, I'm just going to put 200 just to give me any sort of buffer with my estimations. And that works for me just now. Like, I'm not a bodybuilder. I don't need to be on stage. I don't need to be a certain amount of body fat percentage for my wedding. All I'm trying to do is actually eat a little bit less, but keep my nutrition really solid and enjoyable as well. Like, I will never remove enjoyment from what I eat. I will always eat things that are tasty. I don't like bland food. I don't like food without sauce and seasonings and flavour. I just do not want to do that, regardless of how much body fat I want to lose. Calories are coming in at around about 650 calories for this meal, around about 74 grams of carbohydrate, about 19 grams of fat, and about 45 to 50 grams of protein. For me, that is a solid breakfast after I have done about 40 minutes of rowing this morning and I've had about 2 hours of just kicking about the house. I'm really hungry right now, so I'm going to go and enjoy this and catch you back up at lunchtime. So we are back in the kitchen again. As you can see, has not been fully decorated yet. We're getting there. Lunch, I'm not actually that sure what I'm going to have. It's going to involve eggs and we're just going to explore and see what actually comes out of this. I'm thinking an omelette, but I like scrambled eggs better. I don't know. I'm going to go and see what's in the fridge. I know that I do in fact have bagel thins, the protein bagel thins in here, which I don't have loads, but they're good to accompany some sort of egg dish. So I'm going to have one of these, 4 eggs, and then see what I can put with that. Let's go. As we know, when in a fat loss phase, just having your carb source and your protein source, it's maybe not going to be enough to fill you up. So how do you fill volume up in your stomach without using too many calories? Well, you use fruit, you use veg. Green stuff's usually the best thing to do it. So what I've got is what I found in the fridge essentially. It could have been anything. Rocket. I've got like a quarter of an avocado. Freddie ate the rest of it for his breakfast this morning. I have mushrooms, a tomato. I've got light fillet, which is just to add a little bit of spread to my bagel. And I have Greek feta, which is going to go in with my eggs. Not everyone loves feta, but I'm a big fan. As I wait on this to finish, I am just going to let you know where the calories stand for my lunch. So I got 4 eggs, 2 tablespoons of feta, or like, it's around about 25 grams-ish. 1 protein bagel thin, quarter of an avocado, about half a tablespoon of olive oil, 20 grams of Philadelphia lightest. And for the veg, I actually don't bother tracking the veg. If it's green veg, if it's things like tomatoes, unless I'm having an absolute abundance of it, my spatula is burning. Whoops. I'm a bit disappointed with my performance with my eggs. I'm still getting used to this induction hob and it is essentially just like overcooked my eggs. Anyway, never mind. We're looking at about 609 calories with roughly around about 35 grams of protein in this meal. So We're going to need to top this protein intake up somewhere with perhaps a protein yogurt or perhaps something else later on in the day, because I'm a little bit behind in terms of where I should be with my protein by around about lunchtime. I'm going to be looking for about 150 throughout the day, by the end of the day, sorry. So sitting at 1,253 calories, we've got 847 left, and that's going to make our dinner, and that's going to make one snack. If you find avocado tasteless, this stuff is really nice. It's black sesame seeds, tomato, sea salt flakes, black cherry pepper, whatever that is, chili and pink peppercorns, and it goes amazing on top of your avocado. 2 protein bagel thins, no, 1 protein bagel thin, bit of an avocado, 4 eggs, tomato, rocket, mushroom, pepper, avocado topping, a little bit of Philly lettuce. I'm going to put some Frank's buffalo hot sauce on there as well. Oh sorry, it's not the buffalo one, it's the pepper sauce. This is really good because 1, it's tasty, and 2, it doesn't come with a heap of calories, the same as like mayonnaise or Nando's Peronaise or any other sauce really. So it's a bit of a free hit in terms of flavouring your food if you like this kind of sauce. If you don't like eggs, I feel very sorry for you, because they're just so easy, so quick. Fried eggs, scrambled eggs, poached eggs if you've got a little bit more skill about you. An omelette, again, it's just so easy, and the protein and the healthy fats that you get in eggs are just unmatched. I kind of put them in like a pasta bowl, which doesn't really make sense, but here we go. Nope, I've not forgotten what eggs taste like. So one thing that people don't really consider when making breakfast choices or lunch choices, I know I'm kind of having like a breakfasty lunch, is the choices that you make can very much affect your energy and your appetite later on in the day. So if you wake up first thing in the morning and you do nothing, you literally go from your bed to your kitchen, have your breakfast, walk to the office, and sit on your arse all day long. Food choices matter in that regard. Reason being is that if you go and pile on a whole bunch of carbohydrates into your meal at breakfast time or at lunchtime, let's just say you have like, you know, the sandwich meal deal, or you have a big bowl of cereal, what happens is your blood sugar is spiked by that, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Like we want to be able to get energy into our body, because food is energy regardless of what it is. But what can happen to us is our blood sugars can spike, they can go quite high, and then if we're sedentary, aka sat on our arse for the rest of the day, we can get this crash. And you probably felt it before, like if you have a big bowl of cornflakes first thing in the morning and then you go and do nothing but type, inevitably you tend to find that there becomes a crash. Hence why people then begin to get more carbohydrate cravings at lunchtime, and then that's where they reach for the baguette, the burger van, they then reach for the next sandwich out of the meal deal. And that's why eggs are a good option, because yes, eggs, you can partner them with carbohydrates, you can have them with anything, but they're a really good option because they are protein and fats, and you don't get that same spike of carbohydrate that you would get from a breakfast with like a cereal or a porridge or something. On the flip side, if you are working out first thing in the morning, or you are away to tackle a big run or something like that, then yeah, carbohydrates are probably a really good option. But if you are sedentary and about to sit on your arse for a long time, aim for fats and carbs at breakfast time. But if you are away to be active and do a workout, then maybe having some carbohydrates is a good idea. Okay, so add about 70 odd calories to the calorie count. Pink Lady apple. I don't think there's a better apple than a Pink Lady. Anyone who has any other different opinion on that, then I would like to know, but I'm pretty sure a Pink Lady is the best apple. Off to Kirriemuir to do 1 PT session and then come back home and get stuck into my programming again. Hopefully the hunger subsides for a good few hours more. I'm going to try and hold off to have my tea at about 5 o'clock. I have football training at 6:30, so I always have my tea before training. I used to have it after training, but I kind of began to understand the fact that if I was having too much food late on at night, it was going to disrupt my sleep, which we know there's clear evidence that happens, because if your body's focus is pushed towards digestion, then it's harder to get it into that deep sleep state that it needs to be in, especially if you're eating something really heavy, full of carbohydrates, which I will be trying to push as much carbohydrates as I possibly can within the calories for football training, because I was on the rowing machine this morning and football training at night. That's a double training day of 2 methods of exercise which are dependent on carbohydrates being in the body to perform well, especially football. So I'm going to make sure that I get something pretty carb heavy on, but making sure I'm hitting my protein as well. So catch you soon. The afternoon hunger is incoming. So a peppermint tea is required. 0 calories, a distraction, something to consume is pretty much all it is. Look, there are some kind of benefits to digestion and things like that to peppermint tea, but it's not really for that. It's more for just simply the fact I'm going to distract myself until dinner time, which is still in around about 2.5 hours. I've got a gap to fill. I'm not just going to sit here and fight it. I'm going to do something about it. This genuinely looks very, very good. 648 calories, 64 grams of carbs, 19 grams of fat, 48.5 grams of protein. Peppercorn chicken pasta with haggis and parmesan crisp, with again a little bit of rocket, a little bit of balsamic vinegar on top of the rocket, and Himalayan rock salt over the top of that. Magnifique. Because I now have a garden, I thought it would be nice to come out and finish the full day of eating with an ice lolly. It's not just any ice lolly. This is a strategic ice lolly. Just like I was talking about earlier with like the coffees and the peppermint tea, grabbing a low-calorie ice lolly can be a really good way of occupying your brain when you feel like you're hungry and getting that little sweet treat in. So I have decided to get one of these. I'd never seen one of these until the other day. Picked them up in the shop when I was walking down the town and the sun was out. 54 calories and it is unreal. And it's one of those ice lollies that takes like a long time to actually eat as well. So perfect for curbing cravings and hitting your sweet tooth if you are in a fat loss phase. Do not sleep on these. Sales of these in Forkford will be going up 120% over the next few days after this YouTube video. I have football training in about an hour. I won't eat anything after football training. I'll just be straight home into my bed, hopefully. Glass of water and away to bed, and then I wake up tomorrow and I do it all over again. I will then go Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday are usually slightly higher calorie days, Monday, Tuesday, and then fat loss phase will be gone. I'll have dropped a decent bit of body fat for my holiday. Hopefully, not hopefully, I'll be feeling great. I'm sure I will. I'll be proud of the work that I've done over the past 3 weeks, and I'll have proved to myself that I can just dial in just that little bit more with my nutrition, and I won't actually die if I only have 2,000 calories. Like, I'll be just fine for a few weeks. Yes, my DOMs have probably been worse. Yes, I've probably been a little bit more tired. I've maybe not been as kind of powerful and as punchy in my gym sessions, but that will come back because fat loss is not forever. I'll be back into my performance phase right after a week on the booze, barbecue, desserts. It is my wedding week, so I'm going to go a little bit wild and then I'll recover from that after. So I almost forgot. Finish off the day, let's have a little bit of a roundup of the calories and the food consumed. Roughly around about 2,050 calories. I went over the 2,000 calories. Whoops. I always give myself about a 10 to 15% buffer, under or over, because we're not trying to be perfect here. Who gives a shit? So I have had 215 grams of carbohydrates, 71 grams of fat, and about 139 grams of protein. Now, that is slightly under what I would ideally be shooting for, but that's okay. It's fine. Again, 10 to 15% of a buffer. It'll be fine. My muscle will not disappear overnight. We'll just shoot for a little bit higher tomorrow and make sure that I don't miss that 3-4 days in a row. And I think the whole kind of message of this is perfectionism around food is not healthy. Like, we do not need to be perfect. We do not need to be to the gram. We do not need to be to the calorie. We can very much have a little bit of a buffer, and it's about what you do consistently over 7 days rather than what you do perfectly over 1 day. Over and out.